Hi. Oh, okay. Awesome. Okay, so Dr. Oyelami is here with us. So I think we can just get started. Okay, so like I said earlier, Moment is Reenie is for those who actually joining for the first time. So Moment is Reenie is a talk show. It's basically to inform, to inspire, and to educate everyone, all individuals. So for children, youth, and adults, it is user friendly. It is viewer friendly as well. However, it's with just enough focus on our adults, like young and youth of the society today. So we started last month. So we had a talk on what would you say to your younger self. We had a couple of people join us, and I mean, it was really, I mean, let's say interactive because I learned a whole lot from them. And so, but today, I believe a couple of us know that today is the the annual mental health day, and so that's why we're having this topic because we believe that mental health is paramount, is key to everything about we do, our life, decision making, your workplace, your life, your family, the way you interact, everybody, right? So it's very, very important. So that's why we have our our friends join us today. So it's an honor to actually have you. I think this is the first time I'm getting to see more live. Like I've not, I've never had this opportunity to meet you live. So this is my first time doing this. And Dr. Yelami, I mean, the first time I reached out to Dr. Yelami, I met him through a friend, and this is my first time getting to see him first too as well. I mean, it was so easy to get to talk. I mean, I was just saying, okay, sir, can you please, would you please? He was just like, don't worry. So I mean, thank you so much for honoring this invitation. So just a brief. Dr. Oyelami is a medical doctor. Is a medical doctor in the field and with a lot of experience. Is a mental health advocate. He's also a mental fitness coach. I think he's also a member of the West African College of. Please, I'm not a medical student. I'm trying, but please forgive me. Okay, so I know he's. So I believe what I'm saying is he's competent enough. He's got this experience. He knows everything about mental health, and that's why we have him here. Also with me here is my sister. I would say, even though apparently she has the same name as me. I do. Her name is Reenie, but she's a blogger. She's also a rehabilitation student. And so she's all about, she promotes and she's cool with when it comes to public health. She's about health. She's concerned about health, promoting and ensuring that she's able to support and give people that support where necessary. So yeah, that's who Mo is. I think in her free time she loves to, according to her, she loves to dance, she loves to travel. I would have said she should dance for us today, but no problem. Let's just hold on. Okay, so let's just get started. I know we hear this word mental health all the time. We hear it's a word, tell you mental health in the workplace, mental health this. But I think people here will even want to understand what is mental health exactly. I mean, are we really, I mean, it's good that we have this understanding of what mental health is. So I want to start off with, I say, okay, so Mo, I would like to start with you. What do you think mental health is? I mean, to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Rennie, for this opportunity, first of all. I think it's such a wonderful
Uh, I don't
platform.
know if I'm the only one who can. Okay, can you
Oh,
please
can
just
you
check
hear me?
me, please? Sort of.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Oh, somebody say that, my sis. Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. I don't know, Doctor. You hear
Okay.
me? Can you hear her? I want to be sure it's not me. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I can now.
All right. Yeah, so I think my headphones are working properly. Yeah, no, so I just want to say thank you so much, Rennie, for this wonderful opportunity. I think it's very fantastic, especially today being World Mental Health Day, and it's good that we have a medical professional here. My own background is more of a rehabilitation perspective, right? So offering support, as you said, we hear mental health. We hear that terminology used a lot, especially in our day and age. We always hear people talking about it, but I actually googled, okay, what exactly is mental health? And it says that it refers to our emotional, psychological and social well-being, right? And it impacts how we think, how we feel, and therefore how we act. And as a rehabilitation student, we always use this model, the biopsychosocial model. So it's not only looking at, oh, this is, maybe your genetics, your biological makeup, this is how, your brain is wired. It actually looks at, okay, socially, what's your social well-being like? Psychologically, what have you been exposed to? What traumas have you had growing up as a child, as an adult, right? And it just kind of talks to how we handle stressful situations. So mental
Yeah.
health is all about that. It's all about, how you even in joyful situations as well, what is your go-to response? How do we frame our lives? How do we think? How do we see ourselves? How do we see other people? How do we interact with people? So I believe that's the totality of what mental health is all about. But yeah.
Okay, awesome. I really like the aspect where you mentioned that it's just a totality, like just everything about us, really, and that's really interesting. Okay, thank you very much. So, Dr. Deyami, what do you think mental health is? What would you like to add to what she said already? Dr. Yelami?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Can
you
you hear
now.
me?
Yes.
All right. All right then. Okay, so talking about mental health, there's mental health and then there's mental illness. So it's from one end of the spectrum to another end of the spectrum, okay? So now the World Health Organization has defined mental health. In that definition, there are several things that we're talking about in the definition of mental health. And talking about that, they said that when someone can achieve his own abilities, okay, and can work productively in the society, okay, and then can cope with the normal stresses of life, all right? So these things are very important for an individual to be able to work productively, to be able to contribute meaningfully to society, to be able to realize his own abilities, and to be able to cope with the normal stresses of life. Of course, we know that there are experiences and stresses that people face in the society, and it varies from society to society. Some societies can be more stressful than another. Take, for example, financial stress, emotional stress, the work stress, if you are living in Lagos, traveling from one place to another. But an individual with a good mental health should actually be able to cope with all these things and still be productive, to still be able to contribute to society, to be able to still realize their potentials, okay? So that's talking about mental health. And everybody has a mental health, okay? So what we encourage is that people should build on their mental health and to make as in to improve on their mental health and to have resilience, okay? So now that's on mental health. Now, mental health is different from physical health. When you are talking about physical health, we talk about our bodies and everything like that. So, but WHO, even in the same definition about health, they talk about both physical and then the mental health, okay? So, and they talk about mental health as a very vital component of health too, okay? So when we're talking about mental illness now is like a deviation from the norm. For example, someone now has an illness that affects what we call their thinking, their mood, and then their behavior. So when you are talking about mental illness now, for example, it could be the mood of a person. That's how happy a person is or how sad a person is, okay? So it affects their mood, and then they are not as happy as they are supposed to be. So take, for example, depression. Now, somebody has a low mood, and you say low energy and lot of interest in previously pleasurable activities, okay? So it started affecting the person's mood. The person is persistently sad for prolonged periods of time and for days on end, okay? So that's talking about the mood. Talking about the thinking, okay? So, for example, a mental illness can affect someone in a way in which the thinking of the person, the way the person sees everything around is kind of different and has kind of changed. For example, the person can start thinking that people are against them, they want to harm them. That's what we call a form of delusion, okay? All right. So, and it could also affect the person's behavior, all right? Okay, so the delusion I'm talking about is that it is not true. Of course, there are some instances where people might want to really harm other people, okay? But when you are talking about delusion, that means that it's not true. But it's only this person that is thinking that way, and it's because of an illness of the mind, okay? So it can also affect the way in which a person behaves, all right? So it can affect the way in which a person behaves in the sense that the person starts exhibiting some unusual behaviors which are not in keeping with the norms in the society, or with the person's own particular kind of behavior. There's a total change in personality. For example, someone that is behaved appropriately in a maybe kind of setting, in a kind of setting that is not, that is that a person does not, I don't, let me just, it affects the behavior in kinds of certain ways. So there's a total change in person's behavior. For example, someone that is calm, not aggressive, starts becoming aggressive. If I'm not saying that aggression is a definition of mental illness, I'm just saying that as an example, okay? Someone that maybe does not spend lavishly, okay? There's a part of mental illness when you're talking about bipolar affective disorder. There's a part in which overgenerosity is part of the characteristics of the illness, okay? So someone that has lost inhibition and the person starts of being overgenerous with their properties, even to the extent in which it becomes harm to themselves, okay? And someone that becomes sexually disinhibited in a way also, in a way which the person that does not exhibit maybe some forms of rude or sexual comments, and the person just starts making rude and sexual comments and rude remarks in a way in which it has affected the person's behavior. So that's what we talk about mental illness. Like it affects the person's thinking, it affects the person's mood, and it affects the person's behavior.
Wow. I mean, that was really detailed. Like, I mean, if I want to take anything from there, I think it's the part where it says being able to cope with stresses of life, because trust me, there will definitely be stress out there in the world, in work, everything. But being able to, it's not you denying or running away from the fact that these stresses are there, are present, but being able to manage it. So I think that's just it. A lot of us want to find a way to say, okay, I don't want to be stressed or anything. But the truth is, the reality is, there's stress. Like, there will be stress out there every time, and at the end of the stress is the beginning of another. But being able to manage it effectively is what mental health is. I mean, that was really detailed. Like, I picked a whole lot from that, but that was really key to me. Maybe because I'm in Lagosian. I mean, every day you're in traffic and all, and you're just tired and you're trying to wonder how to live life. Okay, so thank you very much. I mean, I think that explains it, what mental health is, being aware and being able to understand how to cope and just manage it. Okay, so but really, I want to ask, maybe just in another 1 minute, why do you think mental health is important? I mean, why do we really think it is really necessary? Why is it important for us to be mentally healthy? So I think I'll start with more this time around.
No, for sure. I mean, I think mental health is so important, right? As the doctor said, is as Dr. David said, it's part of just like physical health. How we have to take care of our bodies and our physicalities, our minds as well. It's very important for us to be aware of it, you know. And he said something about having, as you said, that having the right tools to deal with the stresses of life. Like, we can't say that in this life I want soft life, I don't want to be stressed. That's absolutely impossible. You know, in all our different settings, different, you know, areas of life and industries will always experience stress, right? But it's important to know and have the right tools to deal with those stresses, to be able to work productively. You know, everyone has the right to live the life that they want, right? To be able to contribute to your community and to society, and you can't do that if, you know, you're ill, you know, in your as you're ill in your physical body, if you're ill in your mental health as well, if you're not strong in that area, you know. So I think that's why it's very important, and also to just break and dispel the stigma that we have surrounding mental health. Like, mental health can be such a taboo word, especially, you know, in our Western world, in our African industries, right? In our African countries, where it's like, oh, mental health, everyone immediately thinks mental illness, and that's not true, right? It goes beyond that. So I think it's very important to normalize having discussion so that you dispel the stigma surrounding it, so that people understand and able to develop the right tools so that they can handle the stresses of life, and they can also, you know, be able to contribute actively and live to the potential and the life quality that they want. So yeah, that's why I'll say it's important.
Okay, all right, thank you. So I know Dr. Ilami already, I mean, from his definition of what mental health is, he already told us. In fact, he covered almost everything already. He already told us why mental health. I don't know, but if you have any other things to add to it, Dr. Ilami, why people should be mentally healthy? Yeah.
Okay, so there's the okay, so we talk about like if you compare mental being mentally healthy to physical being physically healthy. Now let's first talk about being physically healthy. If somebody is physically healthy, if the person maybe for example has an ill if there's an illness, okay, because the person has a strong immune system, it's very easy to overcome that kind of illness, right? The person gets well on time. But let's say the person has not been physically healthy for a long time. Maybe the person has been sick with another condition which maybe has suppressed their immune system. Okay, so this person is not physically healthy, right? On the word go. All right. If the person now has an infection, or maybe if the person has another kind of illness, it's easy for the person to have a serious or more debilitating condition or worsening of the condition that the person already has. Okay, so trying to relate that to being mentally healthy. Now, if somebody has a good mental health, right from the word go, if the person faces stress in life, for example, disappointment, there are lots of stress that people face, okay, right from relationship breakup, which could be a stress, okay, right from some people are maybe they lost money, they're unemployed, some people lose their job. These are instances in which people break down, okay. But let's say that somebody has already has a good mental health. It's easier to be able to cope with these stresses, okay, and still be able to function under these conditions, okay? Or maybe the person loses a loved one, okay? Which are instances that occur in people's lives, okay? And they are called stress. There are different kinds of stress, okay? So it's easier for somebody with a good mental health, okay, to be able to cope with this stress. All right. So that's one of the reasons why it's very important for us to build on our mental health. Just as we feed our bodies and build on our physical health. For example, we try to eat good food, we try to exercise our bodies. You talk about not eating that so that we can have, as in we can have a good and healthy body. The same way we are supposed to feed our mental health, okay, so that we can have a good mental health, so that we can develop resilience.
Awesome, awesome. I mean, that was really detailed, like being able to understand and manage it. So I would say that it is important because I mean, if I were to add to that, I would say mental health is important because it's I mean, I think it's what you mentioned. Like a lot of us just pay attention to our physical body. Like, oh, I think I'm losing weight. Oh, I think I just gained weight. I think I need to adjust. I need to eat more. I mean, a lot of us are particular about our physical appearance, and then we forget about forgetting that it's the mental part that really controls everything. I mean, if one is not mentally healthy, it affects everything. It affects the way they think, the way they appear. You see some people dress in sort of way, appear out there. You think maybe, oh, what's wrong with them? You don't even know maybe they're actually battling with something mentally. You don't even know what's going on in their mind. So, I mean, we pay a whole lot of attention to our body and then we ignore the driver itself. I think that's the core. The driver is ourself, so the inner part. So I think that was there. So I think the main thing there is now is early signs and triggers of mental health. Now, we all know that, okay, we all know, okay, mental health is important. We know why it is important, but what are those signs? What should I really look out for as a person? To make me know that, oh, okay, I think I am beginning to lose it. I think something is wrong. I think I need to call for help. I mean, what is that thing what triggers it most of the time? We get a lot of people say a lot of things. I think I was on the call with a friend yesterday, and then he mentioned something about childhood trauma, right? I think that's one of those things because a couple of us, we grow up learning so many things from the environment, and then we just end up not even knowing what to share. I know that is one, but really, what are those early signs? What should I really look out for, or the triggers that can help me know that I think I am not mentally okay? So I think I want to start with Dr. Oyelem. I know you are expert in the field, so I believe you want to start with that. So what are those signs or the triggers really?
Okay, so there are different kinds of mental illness. Okay, there are different kinds, and there is okay in the medical field, in the field of psychiatry, there's a classification of a whole lot of mental health conditions, ranging from what we call organic mental disorder, the ones that can affect the brain and then affect the mind, then to the ones that we call mood disorders, like depression, like bipolar affective disorder, okay? And then the ones that we call psychotic conditions, in which there's a serious and marked change in the person's thinking, behavior, and etc. For example, schizophrenia, all right? Okay, so there are different health conditions, okay, and then there are, but the commonest is depression for some people, and that's what most people are aware of, okay? Most people are aware of depression. So even when people come to the hospital with other forms of mental health conditions, okay, they say, that doctor is just depressed, okay? So they say it's just depression, that you've been suffering from depression, okay? So, and that's what most times people really say about mental illness, okay? So they think that everything is just depression, but we don't want to class everything under depression because there are different kinds of mental health conditions. So maybe I'll just talk about maybe the signs and symptoms of some of these mental health conditions. Okay, the symptoms. Okay, so take for example depression, which is common and which can lead to maybe serious effects. For example, someone that is depressed for a long time can tend to have seriousness of the depression up to the point in which some people think of ending their lives, okay? So depression doesn't just start, okay? There are some symptoms that it shows, okay? So for example, the 3 cardinal symptoms that they usually talk about in depression, the 3 most important and vital symptoms that they usually talk, just like malaria, symptoms like maybe fever, the person is not eating well, and etc. So depression also has its own symptoms. So we talk about low mood. That means that this person is persistently sad, okay? When you talk about low mood and persistent sadness, that doesn't mean that someone cannot be sad. If I have maybe like 1,000 naira with me now and I lost 950 naira out of that 1,000 naira, or maybe I lost that 1,000 naira, I can be sad, okay? I can be sad. But maybe when my friends come around and say, okay, let's go and have, let's go and do your things like that, that cheers me up, all right? But when somebody has low mood in the depression, when we are talking about depression, it's persistent feelings of sadness that cannot even be cheered up. So the person is persistently sad for long periods of time, for most times of the day, and for most days of the week, okay? And it will go on like that for at least for 2 weeks, okay? And then that's for the low mood, that's persistent sadness. So when that's one of the signs that symptoms that we need to watch out for. Then low energy. So this person wakes up in the morning and just doesn't feel like doing anything. He wakes up in the morning without doing any work. The person just feels tired. All right, just is not motivated to go about their usual activities. He's somebody that maybe when he wakes up, I like to clean my room, I like to clean my house, I like to go out and do the things that I'm supposed to do, or maybe I would like to go to work or things like that. But this person just feels tired right from the work, go after waking up. So that's low energy. There are lots of interest in previous pleasurable activities. So this a person that usually likes maybe going out with friends, but this person just becomes caged inside the house. This person refuses to go out and then becomes caged inside the house and just starts staying alone inside the house and not going out, okay? This person withdraws from their friends, okay? That which is one of the things that the person enjoys doing before. This is someone that loves watching TV, loves watching movies, loves cooking and things like that. But the person keeps away from all these activities and would rather stay on their own. Okay, so that's a lot of interest in previously prepared activities. So there are other symptoms that comes along with it, which could be loss of sleep, all right.
Is that mine?
No, I think it's
Oh, okay.
Now that's depression, okay? So when you're talking about other mental health conditions, you can talk about schizophrenia, but most times when it comes to schizophrenia, take for example, that's the disorder of the sometimes mind thinking, all right? So it can affect the person's thinking, all right? So the person can start having unusual perceptions, okay? And think like, okay, for example, when I say perception means the sense of hearing, the sense of taste, the sense of vision, and things like that. Some people go to the extent of hearing voices of people that they don't see, all right? Okay, in the sense of schizophrenia, all right? Then some people can start having feelings, what we call persecutory delusion, okay, that people are against them, people want to harm them for no basis and for no reason. Take, for example, I saw a lady of recent, okay, so this lady has been, the family members brought the lady to the hospital, and what the complaint they had was that she thinks that everybody is an enemy, but there is no basis for that, even at work. She thinks that everybody is an enemy. Anything that goes wrong on the computer, she says that it's the co-workers that are planning to sabotage her work. At home, she says that anything her phone got spoiled, she says that it's everybody around her that they are responsible for it. So the reason they brought her to the hospital was because she just suddenly got aggressive out of all these behaviors, and then she broke a mirror in the house, and the first this was getting out of hand. Let's try and seek help, okay? But along the line, when we got the history, it showed that this person has suffered from depression and some other things like that in the past, which was left untreated, okay? So this has gotten worse to the point in which the person now started on developing abnormalities in their thought process and things like that. So that's one of the complications of when you say depression and some forms of mental illness that are not treated, okay? So that's talking about depression. And there are some other things, for example, mania. When you talk about mania, that's excessive energy, it's usually high spirit, okay? So mania is another form. When you talk about depression, depression is one end of the spectrum. Then when mania is another end. And when you talk about bipolar, that means there are two poles. The person could be depressed, or the person could be what is say manic. All right. I don't want to. That's a lot. I think I've said.
Okay, in fact, I feel like no, this is a session that I probably will not. If I don't know, the amount I would have actually paid to really hear this. I mean, it's I was able to pick out a whole lot, like low energy. I mean, there are times that we just wake up in the morning and we just like. I mean, I speak for myself. I just feel so tired to want to like get up. I just feel. I mean, at the times I just feel like, oh, okay. I don't even think I really find a reason to want to go out. I mean, I think those are signs of depression. I mean, before we get, I think I get that part that depression doesn't just start a day. I mean, you start from somewhere. So when you start to see that it's beginning to drop, low energy. I got the part where you said high energy could also be a part of it. I mean, I'm hearing that for the first time. So if I'm hyper like this.
So the high energy can be a part of mania. That's mania. That's another kind of this thing.
Wow.
Or another form of mental illness, okay?
I think it even says what the Bible says, that so much of everything, let everything be done in moderation. So when it is more than that, I think there is a problem. So I think, but I'm gonna ask, right? Disorder in eating, like eating habits, could that also be a sign? I mean, maybe you're just kind of person you like to eat or something. Could that be a sign of depression or something?
All right. Yes, you are right. You know, I mentioned about loss of appetite. Okay. So people that have depression, okay, can have, that's one of what we call some of the symptoms too, the minor symptoms or the minor criteria for the diagnosis of depression. So somebody can have loss of appetite. But let's be clear and differentiate this from another form of eating disorder, which is called anorexia nervosa. All right. So there's the eating disorder itself, which is called anorexia nervosa, which is classified also as a mental illness, in which the person feels that for some reason, they are too, maybe they might feel that they are too big or they are too fat and things like that. And some people can actually start trying to avoid eating, and then they have disorders of their eating habits and things like that. So that's different from the loss of appetite that comes up in depression.
Wow. I think I'm beginning to learn something here. I think I hope I'm not because to be honest, right? I'm the kind of person that I can actually stay. There are times I would actually stay hours and not eat. I need to be sincere. I probably just tell you I've lost appetite. I mean, and then I just realized I think you're right, because there are times that it could be maybe me not even understanding what's actually moved me to that station. The when I just see it could just be something, a change in environment or change in whatever that might just happen. You will just see that the appetite is back. I'll just tell you, okay, I think I'm hungry. I think let's go out, let's go grab something to eat. So I think that's something. But I mean, we're not even paying attention to that when we don't feel like it. Some of us just feel, I think it's even good. So they may not even continue like that. But yeah, I think factors. So low energy, low mood, refusal to want to go out, somebody who's been so hyper. I think it's also important that let's look at our friends, like people around us, our relative friends, people we know that are always hyper, they have this interest to maybe they go out for movies, they go out about to just stop doing all of those things. Let's engage them, ask them questions. Why? Don't if they tell you no, I'm busy. I mean, they can be busy the first time, second time, but when it gets to I'm busy all the time, I think it's good that we just check on them because it's they themselves might not even understand what's going on around them. So I think this is really, really, really good. So I don't know. Do you have anything to add to that more?
Yeah, no, just when he was speaking, some of my notes is always like, when you're displaying behaviors, as you said, that are not usual for you. So if someone is a very outgoing person and suddenly they become very withdrawn, that could be a sign. Withdrawing from people generally, some people say, oh, I'm an introvert, and that's fair enough. But when you're doing it to an extreme, I think, some of the things Dr. David mentioned, right? It's a case of consistently, because we'll have moments where you're like, okay, I don't feel like eating, or have a low mood. But when it's a consistent thing and you're just staying in that place, then that becomes, a sign of that, right? Like, eating or sleeping too much or too little. I think anything on the extreme is always, and it's done for a prolonged period of time, it's always like a sign of that, engaging in addictive behaviors. As you said, binge eating. It's not just not eating a lot, but also eating a lot, not just not eating, but also eating a lot, right? More than you usually do. It could be a sign of you're trying to cope with something and you don't have the right tools to cope with that, emotion you're feeling. You don't know how to identify it. So therefore you're using something else to cover that. It could be excessive sleeping, watching TV too much. It could be even going out. If you're going out too much as well, right? An extreme of anything could be a sign of, something isn't quite, in your mental health awareness. You need to be aware of it. Okay, I'm doing too much of this, because too much of anything is never good. Even sometimes to like the words people speak, when you're feeling hopeless and helpless, it shows in your speech. So being careful to watch people around us. Okay, what's even ourselves, like, okay, what terminology am I using a lot of? Why am I saying this a lot? And why is my choice of word, why is it always negative? Like, where is that coming from, right? So I think these are all signs and could be triggers of, and that could help us highlight that, okay, perhaps I need to check in with my mental health and make sure that I'm good from this perspective. So yeah, I think you said everything. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so. I mean, I have a whole lot to pick up from this, and I'm going to be extracting as points to share with people. I don't know, people that are not here. I don't know why. I don't know where I was,
That's
but
their
that's
own.
okay.
They're missing out. Bring your notes
I'll
book.
tell you. Okay,
So
so
what should we do?
we understand the signs, we understand triggers. I mean, what could lead to it, which we said depression is one of it. And now, how do we overcome this? Take for example, let's say I take myself as an example. Maybe I don't like to go out. I do things to the extreme, and I've not been able to understand. Never even knew that I was probably I need to check my mental health. But now I understand this thing, and from this session, I already know that, oh, okay, I think there is something that I need to pay attention to. But how then do I overcome it? Like, what do I need to overcome that? How do I start? I mean, I know that you say healing is not it's not a day thing. I mean, it has to be a gradual. But what am I really expected to do gradually? So I think I'll start with you more. From what you've just said, what do you think could help us overcome this?
For sure. I think I would definitely recommend, the first thing I think is always good to do is to talk to somebody. I think one of the areas that are kind of festers, where we fester with our mental health, is when we keep to ourselves, right? And we keep our thoughts to ourselves. It can be very dangerous. But when you're able to vocalize it to somebody, and not just anybody, someone that's trusted, it doesn't necessarily have to be, someone that, or like your friends or whatever. It's great if it's a friend, if it's a family member, but really just somebody that and also I would say identify this before you get to that stage, right? It's like, okay, find out if there are therapists in your vicinity, people that you can reach out to, or even just if you're a person of faith, or one of your pastors, counselors. You have spiritual counselors that are also actually trained to offer assistance. I know for certain there's someone I know at your African therapist. She's an advocate for mental health. She offers counseling services, can connect people to people especially from of African descent. Just connect you to therapists that you might feel that, oh, They won't understand, what I'm going through. They won't have the right terminology, like what are they really going to offer me. But just being able to talk to somebody else, you might actually realize that everything that is going on in your mind is not just you. Because I think a lot of the time we tend to isolate ourselves, feeling like, oh, I'm the only one that's going through this. No one else really understands. When you vocalize it to a therapist or to a trusted, person, you find that, wow, there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing is, it's not, it's not just me that goes through this. This experience might be unique to me, but I'm not the only one in it. And I have people that can help me and support me, and maybe even just change my perspective. Because sometimes it's a perception thing where we find that, oh, this seems that this is the only situation that I'm in. I can never get out of this, right? But someone gives you a different alternative, and if it's in terms of mental illnesses, right, they can always offer you to either counseling or recommend the correct medications that you can take. There's so many different options out there, but you won't know until you talk to somebody. So I think definitely talking to someone should be the very first point of contact, and it helps you get out of your mind as well. You get out of your own head. You're not just keeping everything inside, because that's just like you're just bubbling everything in, right? You need to have a way to let it out. So I would definitely say, really talking to somebody, and also sitting with yourself, being able to reflect, and as some of these things, it's difficult to identify it until it gets to that point, right? But just in our day and age where we're always on social media, we're always just go, go, go. Sometimes we need to learn to be still and just sit with ourselves and say, before I get to this point, let me just even know within myself, what are my triggers? What are some of the things that causes me to, those things when I start to feel low, let me go back to the genesis of it. Where is this source coming from? Why am I feeling? Is it that somebody said something to me, or I watched something, or I ate something? These are things that we have to be very aware of within ourselves, right? To sit with ourselves and have that time to, if it's through journaling or whatever it might be, just have those moments to really self-reflect. But I think really the key thing is being able to talk to somebody, because we can't, no man is an island. We need that help. So yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I'll talk to somebody next. Okay. So Dr. Oyelami, I would like to hear from you.
Well, that's really great. I like the fact that Mo mentioned about talking to someone, which is very important. Seeking out help, okay, it's very important. It's quite very important. That cannot be overemphasized. Now, well, I would like to take it from this angle. When you're talking about prevention now, there are different levels of prevention, right? There's the primary prevention, or in medical field, we usually talk about the primary prevention, then the second prevention of etc. Okay. So when you talk about the primary prevention, now that means that before the illness even comes, what are the things that I can do to make sure that I I don't get susceptible to this thing, okay? So that's when we talk about the primary prevention, building mental resilience, okay? So that's when events happen or things like that that can bring that can look like they can be predisposed to depression, all right? So we usually try to have that built, okay, right from the word go. And these things can start from the childhood, okay, okay? So first of all, we try to protect the emotional health of children, okay? People that unnecessarily go through childhood traumas and things like that, it could actually predispose to people to depression later in life, okay? So we usually say that keep children safe, okay? Keep them away from environments and things that can actually be traumatic to them, okay? Take, for instance, people that have experienced forms of abuse in one way or another. It could be physical abuse, sexual abuse, or anything like that. That actually predisposes people to depression, right? Later in life, okay? So, and that can also predispose to other forms of mental illness, okay? So, the first thing is like, what can we do to protect each other's emotional mental health, okay, and to help improve each other's mental health in the society, okay? So we start that right from the fact when a baby is born and the baby is growing up in any family or in any home, all right? So we start doing that, okay? Now let's assume that these things are done, all right? Person built up, okay, so in medicine too, I would like to tell you that when you talk about mental illness, now we talk about the biopsychosocial model, okay, in the sense of the causation, that's what causes it, and then in the form of treatment, okay. So when you're talking about the biopsychosocial model, now when I talk about the causation, or what causes it, we talk about the biological factors, which will be related to genetics and could be related to some changes in chemicals in the brain and things like that. When you talk about the psychological factors, it could relate to the person's personality. So it could be that this person is usually very reserved before, all right? This person is usually very moody. That's the kind of personality. Or maybe somebody has an anxious personality type, okay? All right. So that person can be prone to anxiety and things like that. All right. So the personality of the person, okay, that's also very important. Then the coping strategies of the person. What does this person choose to cope in terms of illness or in terms of maybe when they go through any form of trauma? Some people, they feel that the way that I can cope is let me just go and drink. I will drink away my sorrows and things like that. But that might not be a good coping strategy, okay? Because at the end of the day, that might eventually backfire and can lead to another form of health condition, which includes the use of substances and things like that. Okay, so what are the coping strategies? And Mo mentioned earlier on that talking to people, one of the coping strategies that one can actually employ is that you can actually try to voice out things. Okay, when you are going through things like this, one, open up, speak out to people. Don't just bottle up things to yourself. Open up, talk to a friend. Okay, in the process of talking to a friend, that friend can even eventually help you to find somebody that would help you out. If, for example, you cannot visit a therapist directly, you can even go with a friend. Sometimes your friend, if you can't go alone, you can go with a friend. All right. So that's that about the psychological factors, and then you talk about, okay, so also build your social network. Have a social network. Don't just, like, you cannot live life alone. Okay, so try and build a social network. So once you have a social network, a good social network, once, for example, you're somebody that has depression, somebody that is feeling sad, bottled up in the house, and your friends will contact you one way or another. They would try and reach out to you. Where is Kunle? I've not seen him in quite a while. What's going on? And they'll check up on you and things like that. So that's already part of the things that you are trying to build resilience in terms of coping mechanisms. Okay, putting in place right coping mechanisms. Then sometimes we usually we say that you should eat well to eat healthy, because it also affects your brain. You know, the brain is also feeding on anything that we eat. Okay, so eat healthy, take a lot, rest well, sleep well. You cannot cheat nature. Some people will say, I don't need to sleep for 3 hours in a day. I can go that. But it's affecting your mental health also in a way. All right. So we always encourage people to at least sleep healthy. Try to take at least 8 hours of night rest. Okay. I know that's difficult for some people in Lagos, especially when you have to wake up very early in the morning. And I'm away from the mainland and going to the island to go and work. Everybody find this kind of difficult. But we should always try and adjust ourselves, okay, and try as much as possible to get good sleep, okay, because that also affects our brain. You usually find out that people that maybe you don't sleep well, if you notice, sometimes you feel edgy the next day and you just feel irritated. People might want to, you feel that people get on your nerves so easily, especially someone that has been deprived of sleep for a long period of time. People tend to get on your nerves. Things that are not supposed to make you angry, you just find out that you're very angry because of those things, all right? So that's part of it. So the common and basic things are also very important, all right? So now let's talk about someone that has had these kinds of symptoms and then wants to seek help. We talked about talking to a therapist and things like that. Now there are some things that medications also can address, okay? So the general perception of some people, at least majority of people, studies have been done in Nigeria in which like opinions have been sought from different kinds of people. The perception of a lot of people is that mental illness is not treatable, that you cannot treat it, that just go for prayers. So that's why we are encouraging people to do advocacy, that this thing is treatable, okay? So no, we try to say, distinguish being curable from being managed. For example, now hypertension, diabetes, those conditions can be managed, not totally curable. That means that there is not a particular drug that you can use and somebody that is hypertensive and say, this hypertension has stopped, it's not coming again. No, it's just to keep the blood pressure low and to keep the blood pressure low so that the person will not develop complications from that. Okay. Same with diabetes. There are medications to use to keep the blood sugar low. All right. Same with mental illness. Okay. So, for example, somebody that is having a depression. Now, there are some kinds of depressive episodes that of depressive illness that therapy without medication can stop. Okay, so even in the classification of depression, there's a mild, there's a moderate, and then there's the severe. So it's usually like some of the symptoms. When you're talking about severe, so that means that this person is having low mood, low energy, and lot of interest in the activities, and then some other symptoms from the other group that I mentioned earlier, right? So mild could be only maybe this person is just sad, but then this person can still be cheered up and things like that once in a while, all right? So that means that that's the mild. Some people they say only psychotherapy, and psychotherapy is just different from just counseling because psychotherapy is actually a structured program. Okay, so it's just different from maybe your friend is just talking to you and just say, ah, get out of it now. You are a big person. You shouldn't be doing this to yourself now. It's different from that because sometimes you cannot understand the mind of somebody that is going through these things. Okay, so it's better to let professionals handle it. Okay, sometimes we do our best as friends to try and cheer up our friends when they are going through periods of these episodes. Okay, but if we know that this thing is not working, let's try and seek out professionals to help out. Okay, then it could actually also medications can also be used to address this. Okay, so at some point in time after using therapy, if therapy is not working, and therapy is also combined with medication in some instances, medications which is called antidepressants. There are different classes and different types of antidepressants are also given to individuals to address these things. Okay, and when we talk about other forms of mental illness too, maybe like bipolar affective disorder and schizophrenia and all those things too, there are also medications that uses to address those things. Okay, so there are a wide range of things. Okay, there is a lot of help out there for people that are undergoing mental health challenges. But the thing is that people need to speak out, come out and speak out and seek help.
Wow, wow, wow. That was so detailed. Thank you very much. But I have a question. I'll say two. First, I'm asking on behalf of a friend because a friend actually, I had a conversation with a friend and she asked this question. I thought to bring it up. And then the next question is just going to be on what you already said. So I'll start with that question. What if somebody who actually having from childhood did not have this supportive environment, and this person has been growing up with this kind of mindset that, oh, okay, people don't like me. I mean, it's easier if you are probably an adult. It probably happens maybe 5 months ago or a year ago. But let's say something that actually happens. No, especially this our environment. Looking at the uniqueness of our environment, we have a lot of people who actually go through these things. There are people who did not really get that emotional support growing up, maybe from the parents, from the environment, and I mean they have to go through life, have to struggle through life through all of those things, and people like that probably will not even know that they are not mentally healthy because they feel that's life. That's what life is all about. They be like that. This is normal. Now, okay, maybe some of them or somebody on the score fall into that category and is wondering, okay, I think this is what it has been, and this has been lingering for years, maybe for the decade or something. What can I do? At what point? What should be the first thing to do? And then the next question is on talking to somebody. I don't know if Mo will be able to assist. You mentioned that find someone to talk to, and I'm wondering, in this world where you find it very difficult to really know who wants to listen to you, a lot of people just want to listen so that they can share and not to help you. So, how do I really know the right person to talk to? How do I know who will listen to me and not judge me, but help me become a better person? Because that's the truth. A lot of people don't like to talk because they don't know what will end it. They don't know what people will end up doing it because they know what the society is all about. So people are afraid to talk, not because they don't know they have to talk, right? They don't know. It's not as if they don't know they have to talk to somebody about it, but the fear of what would this person say, what would they look like? I think it's better I keep to myself. So how do I find that safe environment? How do I find the right person to talk to? So those are the two questions. So you can answer the second question. I think Dr. Oyelami can assist with the first. I don't know if you got the
Oh,
question, Oyelami.
yeah, I got the first one about your friend. That's okay.
Okay.
So now, right from childhood, I talked about some challenges. People might sometimes go through some challenging situations right from their childhood. Okay, so there's something and that would have modified their form of thinking, and then they start thinking in a particular form of way. So there's something that we call cognitive distortions. All right. So that's talking about the person's psyche. Okay, the way the person thinks. Okay. So cognitive distortions. So sometimes one of the things that we try to address in therapy is a person's cognitive distortions. Okay, for example, somebody maybe growing up from childhood because of the many adverse life events that have happened to the person while growing up, the person has come to think that the world is unfair to me, and that's the conclusion. Okay, that the world is unfair to me. The world is unfair to me. I cannot. That negative things always happen to me. All right. So that's one of the things that we try to address. For example, and say, okay, try to pick out some of the positive things that can happen to you, because a person's way of thinking actually would affect their mood eventually. So somebody that is always thinking that, okay, the world is always unfair to me, and that maybe nothing good can ever come out of me. For example, the person can go into an examination and maybe eventually maybe call, let's say, 75, which is a good mark or a pass mark, but because the person always has a negative form of thinking, all right, the person might feel even that 75 is not good enough for me. So the person is always thinking negatively. So that's the kind of things that we try to address, okay? So we usually say, okay, there are things that are important. You say positive words to yourself, okay? You are your own, you are your own best friend, okay? My best friend is myself. So you try to encourage yourself, cheer yourself up. Sometimes people can do that for you, okay? But usually always advise also say positive words to yourself. When you say you are the best, okay? Even when circumstances around you look like it's not really happening, it's not just about saying, thinking about negative things about yourself, because sometimes people's mind can actually drift and then start thinking about negative things about themselves. There are a lot of what we call cognitive distortions. I don't want to go into details about it. When you talk about maximization, minimization, as in things like that. For example, somebody, even if a good event happens to somebody, the person might start thinking, I don't really deserve it. It's not really, it's just by chance. Whereas this person is not really thinking that I'm a good person. I deserve good things. Okay. So we usually try to encourage people to change these distortions. That's part of the things that we do in therapy. We try to change these cognitive distortions and try to make the person realize by giving the person assignment, making and trying to let the person see the positive thing in their lives, okay, that can make them to start having a positive view of themselves. Like what there's a form of therapy which they call cognitive behavioral therapy. One of the things that it addresses is the view of the person's self, okay? All right. So when we talk about cognitive distortions, it can also be how does this person view myself? How do I view myself? Do I think that I'm a person that is not worthy enough, not good enough? I don't deserve good things, okay? So we try to address that too. How does this person view the world, the environment in which they live in? Okay, do I think that the environment is always unfair to me and things like that? And then how does the person view the future, their future? All right. So these three things are very important: the view of the self, the view of the environment, that's the world, and the view of the future. So these things. So for example, somebody that is depressed now that can see the future as being bleak, okay, and even then we'll try to point the positive things that are going on in this person's life, but then they still see as the world as being bleak. So what we try to do is try to address this form of cognitive distortions and then try to make the person see the reason why they should change their form of thinking and then they should change it to a positive form. And so it's also important that we also cite ourselves, speak positive things to ourselves every day, to be able to change negative thinking from our own minds, okay? So that's like the friend that you mentioned now. Yes, adverse events could have happened to the person when they were growing up. She might not have grown up in a right environment, okay? But then, like the word says that I'm not captain of my own fate, all right? So you can always speak positive things to yourself. You can always say positive things to yourself, even while you are growing up. You need to change that perspective and that viewpoint of yourself that things are not right. You need to change it to a positive thing, all right? And then see the world that the world, everything is working out for my own good, and then still have hope in the future. All right, so those are the things that we try to change. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Affirmation, being aware, and the three key things that the first thing is how do you see yourself? How do you see your environment, and how do you see your future? I think that's really good. I think these are questions we should even ask ourselves on a daily basis. Self-reflect. How do I see myself? How do I see my environment? How do I see my future? So that the moment you start to see that there is a change or there is an unsure response in the questions you ask yourself, you know, okay, something is wrong. I mean, every day when you wake up, how do you see yourself? Do you see yourself like you're not even competent enough, or you see yourself that you're not even ready? That will help you. I think one thing we should always also learn to do is self reflection. A lot of us don't do it. The only time we check on ourselves is when there is a problem, to be honest. It's only when there is a problem that's when we run to run to say, okay, I think what is wrong, and then now start giving the specialist assignment. At what point did you stop to eat? When did this happen? I mean, if we do our self reflection every day, it could be daily, it could be weekly, it could be monthly, but it should be a periodic thing. That way, it will help you trash it out. It will help you know, okay, something is. I think this is happening. Let me seek for help. Let me learn. Let me understand before it builds up. Because when this thing builds up and it's beyond your capacity, I think that is when it becomes a stress. It becomes illness. I think illness is only when it's beyond your strength, what you can handle, right? So when you can still handle it, being able to trash it. And I like how you rounded up that being able to reflect on the word of God, because really, if that's just the basic, like I tell a lot of people, even if you think you are not a believer, whatever you think that you believe in, just have a divine force backing you up. That's the truth, right? So just ensure that the word of God is backing you up in everything you do. A lot of people, the only time they go to the word of God is maybe when the pastor in church say, open your Bible to Psalm 91, Psalm 1, Psalm 2. And to be honest, some people, when you even ask them, open your Bible to this, they still struggle to open it. But the truth is, the word of God is there for us to understand, to chew. And the more you understand this, the more you're able to build your capacity. So I think that's really, really, really profound. I want my key point there is understanding who you are, how do you see yourself, how do you see your environment, and how do you see your future. The moment you start to see that your environment is not even supporting you, right? When you see that, oh, the environment I'm seeing today is not enough for me, it's beginning to it's not joining me. So that way, I think you might want to reconsider change of environment, because there are times that you probably might, maybe it's just that the environment is too small for you, to be honest. That's the truth. So you might need to say, okay, you want to check the kind of people you keep around, and the environment goes beyond where we stay. It's about what you even give your eyes, what you feed on, the news you hear, the people you talk to. A lot of us, many people spend maybe half of their day on social media, working, checking things that are not even enough to even build themselves. You watch things that are actually draining you and not adding to you. So every day you're losing yourself out to this society. Every day you're losing yourself to things that you're not. I mean, you probably would think you're enjoying yourself because you watch this thing every day. It's more like entertainment. You see pictures, you see videos, you see those things, but they're actually draining you. And before you know it, I mean, you go on social media, you see maybe a teenager say, oh, I just bought a car, I just bought this, I just bought that. And you begin to feel like you're not even doing enough for yourself, because you feel like, oh, what's happening? What's happening? Forgetting that it was just like a video somebody shared with me today, that don't get to a point where you start to compare your reality with another person's fiction. And that's the truth. A lot of us, we compare our reality with people's fiction. Feel, oh, this person is doing better. And to be honest, when you check a lot of them, perhaps they're not even doing up to what you're doing, right? So just being able to understand your moments, where you are, and being able to enjoy it. I think that's it. Just enjoy your moment. Understand this is the season. This is the part where I really am. So that's profound. So I am more. I asked the question earlier about how do you understand the kind of person you really want to talk to. So I don't know if you have anything to say about that.
Yeah, no, just jumping off of what you said, right? As a believer, and a believer in Jesus Christ, I think the first point of contact I always say is just pray. And sometimes you underestimate the power of prayer. Like, honestly, just saying that, okay, God, you see my heart, this is my intent, I need your help. And it gets to a point where it's like, you said something about the illness, right? It's a case of you have reached the end of yourself, right? So when you're physically ill, it's like your body can't handle this anymore. When you're mentally healed, because your mental capacities can't handle the stress of life anymore. So it's like you're honest before God and say, okay, God, I need someone to come and help me see a different perspective. Because I find that a lot of times as well, okay, yeah. So when you pray, I feel like you're opening up your eyes to be like, okay, God, show me, right? You lead with wisdom in all situations, even not just in, okay, who should I speak to, but even your normal friendship, normal day-to-day life. Like, God, guide me, give me wisdom to know who I should talk to. If it's in career advancements, friendships, like who should I speak to? Who can I connect with that would actually add to my life, be an addition, will edify me, right? And speak life into those areas that I am lacking, those areas that I really need your help, and not just direct me into a path that will not necessarily be for me, because everybody's struggles are different, right? What might work for me might not work for you or work for Dr. David or for anybody else on this call. But it's really like, God, what you have for me, the person you have for me, direct me to that person and let them give me the right help, the right solution, right? And I think also, even, we spoke about getting the professional help. I know not everybody has the ability to do that, or, you don't have the exposure to do that, but when you search online, there's so many resources nowadays. Like, you'd be so surprised. We shared earlier about your African therapist, but there's so many people like that online that are able to offer services, even in your whatever religious organization you're affiliated with. I'm pretty sure they might have resources in your community. Really tap into these resources. Like Google is our friend. Look into these things. It might not be necessarily somebody in your circle. It could be somebody that is even out of there, right? But once you pray and say, God, give me wisdom to direct me to the right person, the right people, the right organization, you really begin to see that your eyes start to open up, right? Your insights you see opportunities in places that maybe before you didn't really see it, you weren't really paying attention. And I really also want to emphasize the fact that even when you go seek professional help or you go and speak to somebody, the onus is still on you. So I feel like as individuals, nobody can help us unless we're willing to help ourselves. So, you
Yeah.
might not have the right tools and resources to get things going. You might need somebody to come and give you that support, like, okay, a friend to lean on. But if you're not even willing to, like, put your body on them, or not even willing to accept the help they have to give, right? It will be almost like it will be pointless. So really, I think the key thing is, as individuals, we sit with ourselves and say, okay, am I really ready to receive the help that I'm about to search for, right? And I feel like once you're at that stage, really God will direct the right people to you, right? And with wisdom in all situations, with wisdom, you'll be able to know, okay, this is the right person to open up to, and by their fruit you shall know them. If it's someone even within your business, you will know by, okay, this is how they act in certain situations, this is the kind of speech that they engage in, this is how I've seen this person interact in good, in bad times. Then you will know, okay, maybe it's not the kind of person I should be sharing my issues with, because I know that I've seen what they have done in the past. So I don't want this to be the same that happens. It's just really allowing the Holy Spirit to guide you in those situations. Open up your eyes, allow wisdom to guide you, and knowing that, okay, eventually, even if you do get help from these people, the onus is still going to be on you as an individual to know that, okay, once that help does come, am I even able to, am I willing and in the space to accept it, to receive the help? Because no one's going to do the work for you eventually, right? They're just here to offer that support and maybe show you the right tools and resources, but really it's down to us as individuals, right? So yeah, I'll just say that, just pray about it. Really, let wisdom guide you. Read the word and really observe. By their fruit you shall know them. By what they have done in the past. If it's someone around you that you're being led to speak to, you will see them by their conduct, by how they've related to people in the past, and just, yeah, allow wisdom to guide in all situations.
All right. Thank you very much. Wisdom, wisdom, wisdom. Even the Bible says it, Isaiah 4:6. Many people suffer for lack of knowledge. I mean, it's very, very important. Let's not be the reason that we're actually going through this. Let's ask for wisdom in everything, I think, and that will guide us. Wow. Amen. I mean, it was meant to be a session for people to learn, but I mean, I'm learning, relearning, or learning things, and I mean, I've been able to pick a whole lot of things that I feel I personally would apply to myself. I think that's very, very important. I mean, if I'm going to pick anything, there's a whole lot. In fact, my book is full already. I have a whole lot to read here. Okay, so that's how I'm just going to ask before we just round up. So, do you have anything you would like to just maybe round up and say to people? If there is a final word or in summary, what you like to share with people, viewers, what you like them to learn about mental health and maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll go first. I'll just say that in line with what the last question what we spoke about, knowing the right people to reach out to, I think it's also important for us as well within ourselves to know how to be the right people. So, you said something about with our friends, checking in with them. If something just prompts your spirit, just send a message to somebody, to reach out to somebody, send a voice note, send them a funny video, whatever it is, right? It's in those little areas that we are also providing assistance to others, right? So it's not just about caring for ourselves, really it's also about looking out for other people, right? And being that kind of piece of joy and providing a tool and resource for somebody else, right? So you don't know what we don't know what anybody's going through, right? We come on the ground, we post all sorts of videos, pictures, are smiling and everything, but we all have different struggles we go through. So I would definitely say, as much as we want to reach out to others too, we as well should be very open and willing to be that support to our friends, people that we might not might not be our paddy friends, but maybe they're on your contact list and something just pops into your mind, like, let me just reach out to this person. Do it. Like, don't feel any reservations whatsoever. Like, as a human race, we need to really have this responsibility that we are one, we care for each other, and to not just put the onus on just professionals. It's only the psychiatrist that I can offer this kind of help, but even your little smile, or you sending someone a funny video, or going to greet your friends, whatever it is, right? It really does offer some kind of assistance. And I also want to just say that this is all part of dispelling the stigma surrounding mental health. Mental health is as important as our physical health, and we need to take it as that, right? With that same type of gravity. As we care for our bodies, we should also care for our minds and do what you need to do to make sure that your mind is right. If you need to set up the correct boundaries, reach out to the right people, the onus is on us as individuals to reach out and find the right tools, spend time to self-reflect. Don't wait till things get bad, right? A lot of times we tend to do that. We're always panicking. We wait to when situations are really, I've reached the end of it, right? That's when we're not like, oh, by the way, maybe I should do this. But really just always, as you said, keep checking in, daily check-ins. Okay, this is how I felt today. This is how I felt last week, 2 weeks ago. Okay, what are these are how you identify your triggers, right? Because nobody's going to teach you this is what your trigger is. We have to sit with yourself. We have to be willing to sit within ourselves and identify, these are my triggers. This is what really gets me going. This is what makes me happy, what brings me joy. And in terms of the medical aspect of it, if you do get to that stage, right, I'm sure Dr. David will have better resources to offer, but really just don't be afraid to reach out for help. Like, it's last will be all right by the special grace of God. So yes, happy Mental Health Day.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you so much. Dr. Yelami, do you have any final word for us?
All right. Okay. So, well, Mo has said a lot. Okay. So I don't know. She has already said a lot. She has already said a lot. I feel we can even round up from there. All right then. But let me just. Yeah. Actually. But then let me just add that yes, we all have a responsibility to take care of our own mental health, and in celebration of the World Mental Health Day, we should always keep it as in, like, take care of our physical bodies, take care of our mental health, sleep well, eat well, exercise, build positive words, take positive words into your life, build your social network, develop a good social network, okay? Have people to talk to, all right? Have hobbies, have interests, okay? All these things are also trying to build yourself a good mental health, okay? Reward yourself at any little achievement, okay? Even at times, pamper yourself, spoil yourself in some way, okay? All these things goes a long way in building our mental health, okay? And then we should always be aware of our environment, okay? Look out for your friends, look out for them in cases in which you find out that somebody going through a challenge or the other. Let's be there for them, okay? Let's reach out. If you've not heard of a friend in quite a while, try to reach out, okay? They might be going through one or two things, okay? And then let's not stigmatize people with mental illness, okay? So that's one of the things we are trying to say, end the stigma. Anybody that has a mental illness, end the stigma. It could happen to anybody, all right? So we try to say, end the stigma. Don't stigmatize people with mental illness. Just let them seek out the appropriate professionals and let them seek get help, okay? So that's it.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. I mean, if I was to pick one thing from what you said, is about, I think the key thing for me, from the summary from what you said so far, that's Dr. Yelami, is build resilience. build a social network. Have people. You can't be alone, and that's the truth. So you can't say yes, I want to do it alone. Like have people around you. I saw I think I attended a conference recently, and then the person said something about you are the number you are the average of your five circle. So if you have five friends, right, or five family or people around you, the average of them, the average of their worth, their values, who you really are. So have people who understand you, who share in your dream, people who understand your what where you're going to, who understand the journey of your life, right? When you understand this set of people, they already have a map. They know what you're capable of doing. They know what you're expected to do. So when they see that you are not doing these things, they tend to call you back. They tend to say, "Oh, I think something is wrong." But you can't tell your friends to check on you or remind you when they don't even understand you. A lot of us are so secretive. You have friends around you, you have people around you, but you're so they don't even know what you were doing next. They don't know what I mean. I'm not saying that you should go ahead and share your dreams and everything with everyone, but have somebody that is so close to you that you can talk to, that you can share your views with. Yes, we all talk to God, right? We feel yes, God is there to help us, but have a physical human person. And if you don't have that person around you, yes, then ask God to lead that person to you. Perhaps the person is just there. A lot of us we give the wrong people the right position in our lives, and that's the truth. So when you give the wrong, yes, that's the truth. When you give the wrong people the right position in your life, they cause you stress. And the right people are out there. They are just outside the wall of your life. They can't come in because it's occupied. I mean, it's occupied. They already have you already have people around you. You already have the space filled. You don't have it. They don't have opportunity to come in. So even when you see you doing something wrong, it's very difficult for them to want to come in to talk to you because you already build a friends around them. So it's very good that we're able to tell God, please lead me to the right people. They may not. They don't have to be 1 million. They don't have to be 10. Right? Even the Bible says. Even it says one chase 1,000, two will chase 10,000. So you don't even need 1 million to chase 10,000. It says just two, right? So what that part is just saying, it's not saying that you just get two persons, right? But it's just telling you that it's not about the number, it's about the strength, it's about the value that they carry. So build yourself, surround yourself with people who understand you, not people who are just there to very, very I mean to put you down. And another thing I would just want to say is understand yourself. I mean, I tell people this a lot. In fact, take a moment of it and have a moment of retrospection. Take a book if you need to. What do you know about yourself really? Ask yourself, what do I know about myself? Sit down, write it out. So when you know yourself, you know what you know about yourself. You know who you are, where you're going to, what's the composition of your life. You know those things. You know your strengths. You know your weakness. So when you see that, oh, I'm beginning to decrease in my strength, or I'm beginning to move out of the box, it helps you to want to check on yourself to say, okay, something is wrong. And we're talking about self-reflection, daily self-reflection. But the truth is, if you're self-reflecting, if you don't have like, there's something in business strategy, they call it KPIs, metrics for measuring your performance, right? We all have it. So now, if you don't have metrics to even confirm, to understand, to measure the performance of your life, you don't even know what your life is all about. You don't have a goal. You don't have metrics to check it. You won't know when you're out of the rail, when you're off the rail, and that's the truth. So when you have the metrics, you understand where you currently are. In business and in organization, they will say, okay, the start of a new year, they say, what was our financial year? What did we close the last year with? They see the position. Okay, this is what we want to increase by. This is what we want to improve on. So monthly, they get to measure the performance. So the same way you do that for your organization, do that for yourself. Check the performance of your life. What did I do better this month? What are the things that I did not do well? And be honest with yourself. A lot of us, we lie. You lie to yourself. You try to tell yourself, I am good, I'm this. I mean, it's good to really confess positivity, but it's good that you face the reality. Hey, Morenike, I think you're not doing this. I do that a lot to myself. In fact, there are times that when after work, I get back to my house, I say, that person in your office, I don't think you did well to that person today. You should have done better. And the next day, you just see me go and say, hi, I just wanted to clarify something about yesterday. That is me checking myself, right? That is me checking myself. That's me getting to understand myself. So the first thing is understand who you really are. When you understand yourself, it will help you know the kind of friends you want to work with. It helps you know the kind of job, the kind of environment, and that's the truth. A lot of people, I think I was sharing this with somebody recently. I think I'll just round up with that. A lot of people pick up job opportunity just because it's survivor and not because it supports their mental health. It does not support their lifestyle. It does not support their goals. It's not supporting their vision. It does not. So when you're in a place where it's not supporting who you really are, you tend to be stressed. because you're not enjoying what you're doing. It's out of your box, right? So, but when you understand your kind of person, you understand what you're capable of doing, you understand what you want to do in life, where you're going to. It helps you to choose your career very well. It helps you to choose your friends. It helps you to choose your environment. It guides your life. It shapes your life. It's just about your value. So I think I want to say, if I want to say my own last word or my final words, I'll say, take time to understand yourself. And if you need to take a step back, please take a step back. Taking a step back does not really mean that you're wrong or maybe you're a failure. It's just you saying, hey, I am on the wrong path. I want to get it right. It's not about how long or how many years you've done it, but it's the quality of the outcome. Because at the end of the day, we all will be left with the decisions that we've taken in life. We're going to ask, that's what we're going to be. Life is about this decision. The Bible will call it that is the value of decision. So your life is about decisions. You take decisions every day. You either say, I want to eat, I don't want to eat. What do? I want to go out, I want to stay. So know the kind of decisions you take, and you know these things when you understand yourself. So I mean, for myself, I would say that set a performance for your life. When you know who you are, it will guide you to know what kind of friends. Maybe after checking yourself and you realize that the kind of friends you have currently are not helping you. I mean, you might want to just take that decision, understand how to place people, have people that you can talk to. I think that's really, really right. Have people you can talk, and above all, learn to talk to God. I mean, that's one thing I do a whole lot. I mean, a lot of us, where we are going through challenges or where we are at the crossroad, we try to talk to people. I was talking to somebody one time and he was like, oh, Monica, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. You know, after a lot, I mean, I realized that she's gone through that thing for like a month, I feel like 6 months. And then the last thing I asked her, when I tried to ask this question, the last thing I just asked her was, have you talked to God? She said no. How many people have you talked to? She said about 10 or maybe a few of her friends. I'm like, so you've shared your life with 10 people that have not been able to help you, like people that don't even understand what you're going through. And you've not spoken to God. You've not even asked God, hey, what do you think about this? I mean, it is very good in every decision that you're making. I mean, I'm a believer and I tell people, even if you're not a Christian, whatever you believe in, have that divine backup in everything that you do. Talk to God. Let him be the driver of your life. Let him be there for you. Let him help you. The same God that helps us that provides solutions to things is also there to help us, to prevent us from falling into the wrong situation. So I would say learn to build that relationship with God. Have the relationship. The thing where you have relationship with people, build a relationship with God as well, because that's the ultimate, right? And don't forget to ask for help. Ask for help where necessary. Don't let things get bad. I mean, just like Dr. and Mo had said, don't wait till it gets to the extreme before you say, oh, I think there is a problem. Trash it out as it comes. Don't allow it. Like, let there be self-reflection every time and get to trash it out. So I mean, we're supposed to have this for like I think 40-45 minutes, but we've heard of spending more than an hour. I mean, it could just go on and on. I didn't even know when the time just went, but it was really, really amazing having Dr. Yelami and Mo on the call. Like I mean, I don't even want it to end. I mean, I'm enjoying myself. I'm really enjoying myself. So thank you so much. I want to thank you for allowing for allowing everyone here to share in your wealth of experience, to hear from you, to share your knowledge with us. I mean, that's really, really profound. I don't think there's no better way to have spent today than what we have done, right? We've learned, and for me, I would say I've learned, I've relearned, and unlearned a whole lot of things, and I think I have a lot to share with people around me. I mean, I know it better now on how to, and if it's all about, I mean, maybe low energy, I think that's one thing. If I invest in my environment today, low energy is one thing that a lot of us feel like is a normal lifestyle. You feel, I think it's stress from last night or something, but really it's not about stress. It could be depression or something. So thank you so much for honoring this call. I mean, I wish I say silver and gold. I have not, but all I have is what I want to share with you. Is that God bless you and honor you in Jesus' name. I'm really, really, really grateful, and I'm very sure our viewers are. So I don't know if we have any comment here. I think it was just one person who said something earlier. I don't know if I missed our comment. She said, okay, yes, and so the reason you are sharing your I think she was just talking about, I think that was when Mo was speaking, where she was just trying to say talking of buttress the people we talk to and okay, I saw somebody that said something earlier that this is a seminar. In fact, it's a seminar. I don't know who that person is, but I feel like I'm trying to pick the name. I think I missed that name. Somebody said something like that. Yeah, this is a real seminar. Seminar Lele. It's really seminar, but really
Those are my siblings actually.
Oh, interesting. Really, in fact, it's a big time. But really, thank you so much for joining. I hope you will come. You honor us when next we have this opportunity to call you on board. So, thank you, Amo, and thank you, Dr. Oyelami. God bless you. So I think we've come to the end of today. So next month, for those who are on the call, the next month we'll be looking at, it's going to be on entrepreneurship. It's going to be for people who are already in business. It doesn't have to be in Nigeria alone. Anybody who is in business. So we're looking at how to help promote. So there's going to be a link I'll share with people. They'll just share with us what they already currently do. It's going to be a 2-day thing. So the first day is where it's going to be free advertisements on the website and everything. Tag them, let them know about things that they can get to do, right? We share their business. We help them create that platform where they can showcase what they currently do in the business. We also have a live session where we can invite the small business entrepreneurs to also come on board, where they can come to show with us and show us on board. Maybe for 1 minute or two, each individual will just come around, business owners will tell us about what they do and what they do, and maybe if it's a business or a product, a service that you currently have, and you want people to know how to use it well, so you can come on the live session, show people how to use the service, how to book, how to request. It's just basically because I know that next month, November, is usually the entrepreneurship week. I think it's usually for a week. Second week in November is the entrepreneurship week worldwide. So I want to use that opportunity to just promote all business owners. So be it small business entrepreneurs, it's going to be free tags, free reposts of your businesses, and let's see how we can get support. And I hope to get 1 or 2 persons who who are already in this business environment. I'm a business strategist more, so I know a couple of persons who would like to also share with us. They can share with us tips on how to really succeed in business, especially these days that we want to bring our business to the digital network, on social media. How do we increase sales? How do we get the right people? How do we increase maybe the customer service aspect? It could be the sales aspect. How do I really position my business and ensure that it thrives? So that's what we'll be doing. So if you have friends or loved ones that you would like to participate in this, you can please let us know. And if there's any topic that you want us to address in subsequent months, you can just write me an email. It's momentswithrenie@gmail.com, or you send me a DM. I'll definitely pick your topic, find people who can really share with us. Like I said, this platform is just for us to get to learn, to inform us, and help us to become better persons. And that'll just be it. So thank you very much. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, Mo. Thank you, Dr. Ilami, and have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.